Conservatism, a perspective deeply rooted in essentialist and teleological views, envisions a social order guided by natural law, whether derived from reason, revelation, or tradition. Embracing principles like duty, virtue, and a belief in an unchanging human nature, conservatives strive to preserve their country's traditional values and societal structures. This ideology, culturally right-leaning and often economically and civically variable, emphasizes stability and continuity. The first established use of the term conservatism politically originated in 1818 with François-René de Chateaubriand. Conservatism has since been used to describe a wide range of views that aim to maintain certain traditional views, but no single set of policies is associated with the term. In this video, you will come to understand all the different subsections of conservatism, from National Conservatism to Classical Conservatism and more. If you want to view the other videos in this series, click the card in the top right corner of the screen to view all forms of capitalism, nationalism, and other political ideologies. Anarcho Conservatism, rooted in the intellectual contributions of thinkers like Peter Weyrich and Frank Chodorov during the mid-20th century, represents a unique ideological synthesis. This paradoxical fusion of anarchism and conservatism seeks minimal government intervention and traditional societal structures. Drawing from conservative principles of valuing traditional values, cultural continuity, and preserving social order, anarcho-conservatives reject a centralized state in favor of voluntary local governance. This ideology proposes a society where tradition is upheld through voluntary cooperation rather than imposed by a hierarchical government. Positioned on the political spectrum, anarcho-conservatism occupies a distinctive space, rejecting both statist and radical leftist ideologies, emphasizing individual freedom, autonomy, and decentralized, non-coercive societal arrangements. Authoritarian conservatism, with its roots traced back to influential figures such as Joseph de Maistre and Edmund Burke, is a distinctive strand within conservative political thought. This ideology strongly emphasizes centralized authority, hierarchical structures, and the preservation of societal order. Authoritarian conservatives advocate for a powerful state to maintain stability, uphold traditional values, and curb radical changes destabilizing forces. This ideology often contends that a disciplined society guided by a centralized authority is crucial for perpetuating cultural and social norms. Positioned on the political spectrum, authoritarian conservatism leans towards the right, endorsing a more interventionist government and resisting liberal ideas of unchecked individual liberties. While it may clash with other conservative factions, authoritarian conservatism remains a formidable force shaping political landscapes in various historical contexts. Classical conservatism, rooted in the philosophical works of figures like Edmund Burke and bolstered by the writings of contemporaries such as Russell Kirk, stands as a venerable political ideology with a distinct focus on preserving tradition and stability. Embracing the idea of organic societal development, classical conservatism argues for the cautious evolution of institutions and traditions, resisting abrupt and radical change. Developed in response to the challenges posed by the Enlightenment and the French Revolution, this ideology gained prominence in the late 18th century. Positioned on the right side of the political spectrum, classical conservatism advocates for a limited state role, championing preserving individual liberties within established norms. Despite variances among its proponents over time, classical conservatism remains a foundational force shaping political thought, contributing to the intellectual heritage of conservative traditions. Eco-conservatism, a contemporary strand within the broader conservative movement, places environmental preservation at its core. This ideological perspective emerges as a response to growing ecological concerns, urging a symbiotic relationship between conservatism and environmental stewardship. Proponents of eco-conservatism advocate for integrating conservative values with sustainable environmental practices. Originating in the mid-21st century, eco-conservatism reflects an awareness of the delicate balance between economic progress and ecological well-being. Positioned on the political spectrum with a focus on conservation, it seeks to harmonize the imperative of environmental protection with conservative principles. As society grapples with pressing environmental challenges, eco-conservatism proposes a model that aligns traditional conservative values with responsible environmental practices, envisioning a future where ecological concerns are seamlessly woven into the fabric of conservative thought. Fiscal conservatism, a cornerstone of conservative economic philosophy, revolves around prudent financial management and limited government spending. This ideology emphasizes individual economic responsibility and minimal state intervention. Rooted in classical economic thought, fiscal conservatism traces its historical roots to the Enlightenment era. Positioned on the political spectrum as economically right-leaning, it prioritizes fiscal responsibility, advocating for balanced budgets, lower taxes, and reduced government involvement in the economy. Fiscal conservatives contend that a laissez-faire economic approach fosters innovation and prosperity. In the contemporary political landscape, discussions around government spending, taxation, and economic policies often invoke the principles of fiscal conservatism, reflecting its enduring influence on economic discourse. Libertarian conservatism, a fusion of libertarian and conservative principles, envisions a society that combines individual liberty with traditional values. Emphasizing limited government intervention in both economic and personal spheres, libertarian conservatives advocate for free market economics, individual rights, and social freedoms. Originating in response to concerns about expanding government power, libertarian conservatism has historical roots in classical liberal thought. Positioned on the political spectrum as culturally center-right and economically right-leaning, it seeks to reconcile personal freedoms with conservative cultural values. In contemporary political discourse, libertarian conservatism often intersects with debates on civil liberties, free market capitalism, and the role of government, shaping discussions on the balance between individual autonomy and societal norms. National Conservatism, a political ideology blending nationalist and conservative principles, advocates for preserving national identity, traditional values, and social cohesion. This ideology sees the nation as the cornerstone of political order and seeks to protect it from both external and internal threats. Historically, it emerged in response to challenges posed by globalization and concerns about the erosion of national sovereignty. Positioned on the political spectrum as culturally right-wing and economically variable, National Conservatism aims to address societal issues by prioritizing the nation-state's role in governance. In contemporary discourse, National Conservatism contributes to discussions on immigration, cultural preservation, and the balance between global cooperation and national autonomy. Paleo Conservatism, rooted in traditional conservative values, stands as a distinct ideological strain within the broader conservative spectrum. It emphasizes a return to classical conservative principles, rejecting modernity, and advocating for preserving historical norms. Emerging as a response to perceived deviations from traditional values, this ideology opposes rapid social change and favors a cautious approach to societal evolution. Positioned on the political spectrum as culturally and economically right-wing, paleoconservatives often prioritize localism, traditionalism, and skepticism of international intervention. In contemporary discussions, paleoconservatism plays a role in debates about cultural identity, immigration, and the impact of globalization on traditional social structures. Paternalistic conservatism, a nuanced subset within conservative ideologies, combines traditional values with a belief in a benevolent state guiding citizens towards the common good. This political ideology sees the government as a moral authority responsible for safeguarding societal well-being. Positioned on the political spectrum as economically and culturally center-right, paternalistic conservatism diverges from classical liberalism by acknowledging the state's role in addressing social inequalities. It supports social welfare policies, workers' rights, and a regulated market economy to ensure stability and prevent excessive individualism. This ideology seeks to balance individual freedoms with a sense of communal responsibility, reflecting a belief in the state's capacity to foster a just and harmonious society. Progressive conservatism, an adaptive strand of conservative thought, integrates traditional values with a commitment to social progress and reform. This ideology emphasizes societal evolution and addresses contemporary challenges while upholding conservative principles. Historically developed as a response to changing social norms, progressive conservatism positions itself as culturally center-right, recognizing the need for a dynamic conservatism that embraces societal change. This strand diverges from traditional conservatism by advocating for social inclusivity, environmental responsibility, and a balanced approach to economic policies. Progressive conservatives seek to blend the stability of conservative values with a proactive stance on social issues, aligning with the evolving needs of modern society. Appreciate your time watching all forms of conservatism. If you're interested in exploring all forms of political ideologies or other political and economic concepts, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. Be ready for the remaining parts of the series coming your way soon.